Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Angry Fans. I'm your host, Afro, and with me I got Lord Fish. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great. Another family episode. Ready to go. Ready to get into it.
Yes, sir. And this episode is going to be very entertaining. We got a lot of fights to talk about. We got a lot of basketball to talk about, even football. So, I'm excited about this one. So let's jump right into it, man. UFC 263. Shit was entertaining as fuck. What were your thoughts on the fight, man?
As most of the fans, I love watching Nate Diaz fight. Fan favorite. He loves to taunt his opponents. He's famous for him and his brother are both famous for the Stockton slap. He's open hand slapped McGregor in the past.
Like
He's
a boss.
Like a boss. He's lost his last 3 out of 4, but they're all against great opponents, Street Jesus, fucking Leon Rocky Edwards. And then he lost to McGregor. He's also beaten McGregor. And then that only one he's had in the last 3 out of 4 were Anthony Pettis, who's another.
Let's go back to Leon Edwards, like you just said. That was a fucking battle, man. And Diaz went the whole way, man. He went the distance and, all bloody, man. There was blood everywhere. He reminds me of Forrest Griffin, man, in a sense. Like, I loved Forrest Griffin, not only because he was on The Ultimate Fighter and then he went on to become a champion, but because the dude just never quit. And that's why I love Diaz, man. This dude does not stop. What was going through your head watching that?
Nate Diaz is a slow starter. He always has been. And then in the later rounds, he always picks it up. And he requested for this fight to be 5 rounds due to the fact that he knows he's a late starter. I think it was the first 5-round non-co-main event ever to take place in the UFC. He was cut open by a bad elbow in round 3. Leon Edwards is on top and just hit him with a nasty right elbow, and he just cut open. And then he had another cut on the side of his head, but the dude never stopped moving forward. And he would taunt this dude left and right. And then meanwhile, coming back through the whole thing, like he was going. And in the 5th round with a minute left, like you could tell Leon was tired. He hit him with, I think it was a left, hit him with a left and wobbled this dude and then pointed at him when he was wobbling him and then kept moving forward. If that fight went another round, I could have seen Nate Diaz knocking him out.
I agree with you 100%, man. I'm surprised nothing was called. Like you just said, he had cuts on both sides. This dude was bleeding fucking everywhere. But yeah, no, I don't think there's a more entertaining fighter in the UFC. And he's hands down my favorite to watch. Jorge is another guy I love to watch, but he's not as entertaining as Diaz, man. Not as entertaining as all. And when Jorge beat Nate Diaz, that was for that BMF belt, which isn't legit. That was to me, that's one of the best fights I ever saw. But this fight we just saw, that one I believe is better because they just went the distance, like I said. So what do you think comes next for Nate Diaz, man? Once again, he's lost 3 out of his last 4. You can't put him in the ring with nobodies because, once again, he's a fan favorite. Everybody wants to see him. He's a money grabber. He's a money drawer. So what do you do with this guy?
So he's 21-13. So it's not like he has some crazy record, but he always fights good talent. 2 routes he could go, right? Poirier and McGregor are supposed to fight, I want to say July 10th. They're going to have their little trilogy. If McGregor loses that, the next option would be for him and Nate Diaz to fight, have that 3rd fight, finish that trilogy. If he doesn't want to do that, another road he could go, he could fight Jorge Masvidal again. Because that last fight was a doctor stoppage, and they could have a whole BMF rematch and go into that.
I'm all for it, man. I would love to see that because Jorge needs to get back in the octagon again as well. I don't know if he has any scheduled fights coming up. I know he's, on the fence with the UFC and, he wants to get his money situated. But with him losing recently, I don't think he really has, any kind of weight behind his conversation. So yeah. I agree with you. I do think his next fight for Diaz should be McGregor, though. Win or loss, I do think McGregor should fight him.
So Diaz did say that he wants to fight again in 3 to 4 months at the post conference.
And that we already know that won't be McGregor, especially if McGregor's fighting next month.
Yeah. So
but I'm sure if Dana goes to Diaz and say, hey, man, if you just wait another couple months, you got McGregor, I'm sure Diaz is like, fuck it, let's do it. I'm there. Yeah. Because that's the type of guy he is. He doesn't care.
Absolutely.
Let's move on. I want to talk about one of my most favorite fighters I've ever witnessed, the Style Bender. This guy is just incredible. He's just ran through the middleweight class. He tried his chance at light heavyweight. It didn't work out for him, but he goes back, shuts up all the doubters. And the guy is the king. What are your thoughts on this, man?
So it was a dominant performance, Vettori is not like no joke.
He's no slouch. Like I said, we all know this is his second time fighting Vettori. And a lot of people questioned him for when the Stylebender won in the first fight. They questioned him because they said he barely won because it went to decision. So for him to dominate this fight, he pretty much just shut everybody the fuck up.
Vettori was 5-0 coming into this fight after losing to Adesanya the first time. The biggest thing that anyone could take away from this fight was Adesanya's leg kicks. They were absolutely devastating throughout the whole fight. He just kept chopping at Vettori's lead leg. So like Vettori's leg was pretty bruised up, but Vettori had no oomph. He slowed him down a lot by delivering those leg kicks. And Vettori's deadly. He's at 11 first-round finishes, absolute animal. But Adesanya made it impossible for him to take him down in the later rounds. Vettori still took him down 4 times, but even when Vettori took him down, Adesanya was able to reverse it. Vettori went for a leg lock, which Adesanya was able to get out of. And then Vettori also went for a choke, and Adesanya was able to get out of that. But he completely dominated him in the performance. I'm not a big Israel Adesanya fan. I don't know why.
How could you not be a fan of this guy? So he is so entertaining, and he backs up everything he says.
So this is my thing. Just because I'm not a fan of someone doesn't mean I don't respect them in their sport.
I know you respect him, but why don't you like him?
I just don't like him. I'm just not a fan. It's just something about him.
Do you know his history though? Like before joining the UFC, the guy, he's been dominating in sports, fighting for a long time. I think
it was like Muay Thai or kickboxing or something. He's been an absolute beast. I don't know.
You don't like his face?
Yeah, I don't like his face. It goes into something else. Too long for the show. Don't want to spiderweb and get off topic, but I'm not a fan of his.
All right, so I know you said you respect him as a fighter, but you're personally not a fan. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't care. I don't care. I love the guy. I think he's one of the best to ever get in the octagon. I know you can't disagree with that statement. Yeah. So with him dominating the middleweight class like he is, once again, we already know he tried light heavyweight. He lost. But what should he do now? What do you see next for him?
So he already told Dana White he wants to fight Robert Whittaker for a second time. Last time
I don't want to see that fight because I already know he's going to win.
So it's all about what the fighter wants to do. He wants to fight Robert Whittaker. It's probably what's going to happen. So he'll fight him a second time. This other kid that has been in the talks that Adesanya hasn't beat yet, Jared Connor.
Yeah, he's right now at the top 5. He's ranked number 4.
Yeah.
And Whittaker actually just beat him.
That's the thing. So you really can't jump and fight this dude if he got beat by the other dude. You know what I'm saying? He wants to fight Whittaker again. Supposedly Whittaker is he's grown since that last fight. He's had 3 dominant performances against Darren Till, Jared Cannonier, and most recently Kelvin Gastelum. And even Kelvin Gastelum came out and said that he thinks Robert Whittaker is prepared to take on Israel for a second time. If Israel does fight him again and beats him dominantly, I really don't feel like there's anything else he can do in the middleweight division. It was his third title defense. This would be his 4th if he does beat Whittaker and it goes through. I would like to see him try to go up to 205 again and try to get the 205 strap. I can't see him beating Jan, but you never know. Fight.
Even in that fight against Jan, I watched that and he held his own. So I think if he had more time to prepare, I feel like he can go into light heavyweight and take over. But we'll see. Time will only tell. The fact that he asked for the Whittaker fight, and we all know he's going to beat Whittaker. I know what people say, but everybody's going to hype up their teammates or their fighters. So I'm not going to buy that. I watched the first fight and it was a joke. No disrespect to Whittaker, the dude's a beast. I just said, he just beat the number 4 ranked fighter in the class. So we already know he's a problem. But I do think the Stylebender can continue his dominance and go for a second belt. And I do think we will see that before he calls it quits. I don't know. Maybe the dude will get entertainment. He does seem like an entertainer from what we get from him.
The last thing, so when he told Dana White that he wanted to fight Robert Whittaker, supposedly the timeline is going to be October. So if he does fight in October, he defends that belt for a 4th time and wins, I would like to see him jump up to 205, like I was saying.
I agree. And if he doesn't jump up to 205, I think he needs to call quits and just retire young, man. He's got more than enough money. Like I said, he has the personality. in the fan base to where he can go off into entertainment. I would love to see this dude, I mean, I don't know, who knows, maybe get into the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Stop. That shit needs to end.
But all right, man, let's move on to the next topic. Still in the same realm, The Ultimate Fighter, season 29. You asked for us to do this review, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it a few episodes at a time, so we're not going to do week by week. Right now, we're going to jump in after episode 3, so we're going to do the first 3 episodes reviews. So we have the coaches of Alexander Volosky, the current undisputed champion, and then we have his coming up opponent of Brian Ortega, who, in my personal opinion, I think Brian Ortega is going to win that belt when the time comes. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. So far for this season, we have the bantamweights and we have middleweights. The coaches were supposed to fight back in April, but Volensky ended up testing positive for COVID, so they got put that on hold. Due to them putting that on hold, they asked them if they wanted to be coaches for this new season. And so far, it has not failed, man. The entertainment value on this is fucking awesome. What are your thoughts so far on what you've seen?
So I love the show. Back in the day, what they used to do is they used to have dudes fight to get in the house. But from what I've seen, these dudes all seem like well-established and rounded fighters and stuff like that. They all come from certain camps where there's a pro or well-known camps around the country. The only dude, the kid from the first show, Aaron Phillips, he was from like Alaska. And
he was self-taught on YouTube, but he did join a fight league in Alaska, so he did have fights under his belt.
He did, but he had the least experience out of anyone on the show, and he ended up losing the first episode. He fought a guy of the name of Andre Petrosky, who had a ton of experience, was a strong wrestler, and it was a pretty good fight. My biggest shock from the show was the kid Mitch Raposo in episode 2. He was a fighter who was supposed to go far. I think he was the first bantamweight pick for Team Volkanovski.
He was the very first pick.
Yep. And he lost to a guy who was one of the last picks.
10 years his age, 21 versus 31.
Yeah. I'm not even going to try to say this guy's name. It's like Ludwig Sholanian.
Just say Ludwig.
Yeah, Ludwig. And very quiet, very focused. He was born in Serbia by way of Ukraine. He was dominated. The first round, he comes out, the kid Raposo is moving, picking him, getting him.
Raposo's striking was amazing in the first round.
It was great. It was crazy.
He used his feet so well. He was going all around the octagon, tiring Ludwig out. Ludwig had no idea where those punches were coming from. Ludwig had the height and the reach. And the fact that Raposo was able to just combo this dude and hit him so nicely, Ludwig had to take a strategic approach to beat this guy, because if they kept standing up like he did, there was no way he was winning that fight.
Yeah. So I was bummed out. So Raposo's a Fall River kid. He's from Massachusetts. And the way he fought that first round was just incredible. Like you were just saying how he was able to throw. Ludwig couldn't cut him off. He was dancing around him. He was moving. And then the second round, he came out, he got him to the ground. He's able to hold on to him pretty much. He still delivered damage, never tired out. And then they went to a sudden victory round, and he was able to do the same thing.
Yeah.
He took the data from the first round and ran with it. And it was an absolute upset, and it was great. And that dude looks like he could go far on the show.
Well, not to discredit Ludwig at all. Let's talk about the records real quick. Mitch Raposo, he was 5-0 before he got into the ring with Ludwig. Ludwig was 9-1-1. So he is an experienced fighter.
Yep.
He doesn't speak any English at all. So I thought that was great for Brian Ortega, that the fact that they were able to communicate and work together. And Ludwig still listened to everything Ortega was yelling out. We're going to talk about that more in a second. The way the coaching styles are going. I'm a huge Brian Ortega fan versus what I'm seeing on the other team.
Same.
So, and we'll get back into that. I want to go back into this fight, but once again, Mitch Raposo, if they stood up, he had a chance. But Ludwig, he was smarter fighter because he had more experience. So he was able to use that to his advantage. So all the credit in the world to him. That was the most impressive victory, because once again, Mitch Raposo was the #1 pick. So episode 3 was my favorite fight of all the fights so far. You had my man Ryder Newman, who the entire time, I was watching this dude, I was vibing with this dude. He seems like somebody I would be boys with, man. And the fact that he called out his friend, Trayshawn Gore, and he called out Trayshawn. This is why I have so much respect for Ryder, because he called out Trayshawn because he knew Trayshawn was the strongest fighter on that team. He knew that if he was going to win the show, he needed to beat Trayshawn early. And I respected him for doing that. And he lost trying his hardest. We all know Ryder is a great wrestler, but he could not get Trayshawn down, man. Trayshawn, he, out of all the fighters, they said he's the number one rated gym in Georgia, training with some of the best people in all fighting. So when everybody kept talking about his stand-up and his striking, saying he was the number one striker in the house and he was the strongest middleweight, I thought this was going to be great because I thought Ryder had every chance to beat this guy. But he kept telling him, and he was even trying to get some intel out of Ryder's friend Miles, because you got to remember they went to the same school together. They were boys growing up, and Miles, respect to Miles, I can't wait to watch that dude fight. He refused to give up any intel on his boy. So I want to ask you a question on that. Would you be pissed off at Miles, or do you respect Miles' decision?
No, I respect his decision. Like, you can't do that to your boy, and you can't give someone a disadvantage going into the fight.
Even though it's your own teammate.
Yeah,
you guys aren't friends when you're in this house. This is every man for himself, and you have your team on your side. So you
can't give somebody a clear disadvantage like that. You just can't do it. That's unfair. Just stay out of it. And that's what he did. And I'm glad he did that. I will say this though, that dude, I watched the fight, Trayshawn Gore. This goes into Brian Ortega's coaching, his whole strategy. He's definitely been the better coach of the show so far. But the strategy was to take out that dude's legs pretty much because he's a wrestler. He didn't use his best tool. He didn't wrestle.
Those fucking kicks from Trayshawn. Oh, my God, bro.
Like Ortega says, the dude kicks like a fucking horse.
Yeah, bro.
During the fight, you could see the dude's leg turning purple, and there was welts.
Bro, by the end of the fight, his legs were covered in welts and bruises. It was crazy.
So for him to be able to dominate so well to take out this dude's number one thing, his biggest strength, wrestling, was phenomenal to see. But to have such a game plan like that, to pinpoint it exactly, so this dude's got no attacks, no offense, was just great to see.
The fact that he was able to counter, because Ryder tried taking him down, I want to say like 4 or 5 times. And every single time, Trayshawn was able to counter that easily, hold his own. And, man, once again, those kicks. And then Ryder had no idea what was coming because, once again, Trayshawn was one of the best strikers in the entire house. Not only is he fast, he's strong, man. Like, anytime he hit him with a body shot or one of those kicks or just a headshot, Ryder, you could tell he regretted making that choice. You could 100% tell he regretted that.
He was very hesitant coming into the cage anyways, but like by the time round 2 came, he did land a couple nice combos, but he never followed up. He never tried going for a takedown after that. And like, it was just, this dude dominated the whole fight and it was good.
Real quick. And now let's go back to the coaching style. So, I will say on a more personal level, I will say fucking Volkanovski. I'm just gonna call him Volk, just to be easier. Volk, man, like on a personal level, he's being buddy friends with his teammates. Like I thought it was cool that he sat down and they watched the UFC event. They watched the girls division win.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. And he brought over food and cooked for them. They drank and they hung out. Awesome. I haven't seen that from Brian yet. Brian's all about his business, man. He straight up said from the beginning, he's here to work with the best people especially the people that can help him train for his fight so he can win that belt. And based off everything I'm seeing, that's all he cares about. And he's put right now, Ortega's team is up 3-0. And I can't wait to watch the next fight because it looks like they're about to go up 4-0. It looks like a clean sweep so far. So what are your thoughts on the way they pick their teams and what you've seen so far?
I love it. Like, we'll just start with Volkanovski. It seems like he has a great bond, but during the fights, I've noticed he's not as vocal. He kind of just stands back and watches and will say like a thing or two. But like Ortega's team's talking the whole time. They seem to have perfect strategy for their fighters going into it. And Volkanovski is the one that's picking the opponent so far. Ortega hasn't
every
picked
fight he's picked, yeah.
So for him, it's just his strategy, his coaching staff.
It's not even Volk doing it either. He's letting his fighters pick who they want.
Yeah, it's just insane. But like how this dude's been able to strategize every fight and plan, and I think he has a coaching background too from his own gym. Like he used to do jujitsu classes or something like that. But
Ortega, yeah, he said, that pizza reference he gave. I love that. He was like, he's like, coaching is like a pizza. I can either shove it all down your throat or I can give you one slice at a time.
Yeah.
And I love that because it was short, simple, to the point. I understood exactly what he meant.
And he's giving these dudes like exact, like small things. He's like working on small things to elevate their game. Like he's not going to what they already have. He's just like small things to make them better for that exact fight that they're about to fight, which is, it's good.
Yeah, I know. So the first fight, I have two favorite fighters so far on Team Ortega. Andre, the guy from episode 1, dude's just a monster, And one thing I saw with them, they told him that he needs to work on his patience. And in that first fight, I know you watched it because that's what we're talking about. They didn't throw a punch for like the first 35 seconds. They both were sitting there waiting. And I know the dude, Aaron Phillips, the Alaskan YouTuber. I know he was just patiently waiting because he had less experience. But this dude, Andre, he abided his time. And for him to force a win with the guillotine right at the end of the first round, that was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
In the second round, once again, the coaching. Not only was it Ortega yelling out, but Ortega's other coaches, they're so vocal on the side to where Volk's team, you don't hear them at all. All I hear is Ortega's team yelling, be patient, double jab, in, out. Yeah. Like, it worked out so good. And Tresean, who is by far my favorite fighter so far, I hope he wins the whole thing. They already know this dude is a fucking wrecking ball. All he wants to do is go in and drop people. He just wants to fucking run you into the ground and fuck you up. But they were able to calm this dude down and tell him to be patient. And I'm happy he did, man. The fact that he was able to win by unanimous decision, it was very impressive. And shout out to Ryder, because even though he lost, the dude, once again, he went up against the strongest person in the house and he held his own. He didn't get knocked out. He stayed up. He did his thing. So no disrespect to him. And I'm very upset about the Mitch Raposa fight. I was upset that Ludwig won, even though I'm cheering for Brian Ortega's team. Once again, if I feel like if they stood up and banged, Raposa would have knocked him the fuck out, man. 100%.
Yeah.
All right, man. Before we move on, you got any more thoughts on the Ultimate Fighter? Or you have anything you want to say on episode 4 before it comes up?
I just, so far I've noticed this a lot. The difference between this season and a lot of seasons in the past is there's not a crazy amount of drinking and fighting, and everyone seems to be like, we're here for a business. It seems to be a brotherhood, more atmosphere.
I think that's coming.
And I'm sure that's what I mean, because like, as you saw in episode 3, Mitch Raposa was like, I should have beat that guy. I can't stand losing. Then he's like getting all fired up and I'm better than that guy. And then the coaches are usually arguing. And I saw like a little sneak preview for episode 4, but it seems like tensions start to heat up between the coaches. So
now that dude Andre who fought in episode 1, it looked like somebody got in his face, and he's like, "Bro, are you serious?" And that dude, once again, he's built like a tank. So I think everybody should watch out for him and Tresean. And going back to Tresean against Ryder, and once again, Ryder called him out. Tresean was, like you said, Ryder seemed hesitant before the fight. Tresean was in his face the days leading up to the fight. Every episode, every few minutes before, he would just go up to him. He's like, bro, nobody's going to beat me. You fucked up. Like, you should have never picked me. Like, now you're going to have to go home.
But they were also like going like, they're like, I'm going to throw, brother. Like, I'm going to throw, brother. And they have their little disputes and then they'd be like, all right, we're going to put on a big show. And they like dab it up.
Yeah. Oh, because once again, even Ryder came out and said, that was his, like, besides Miles, because they knew each other, him and Tresean built a friendship. So those two are really close. So I'm really happy to see that. And I'm excited about what's moving forward. So before we move on to the next topic, because we're going to move away from UFC, prediction: who wins the championship fight in the end? Is it Volk or is it Ortega?
See, that's tough because they've both fought a lot of really great guys in the UFC. Volkanovski, he's 22-1. He's undefeated in the UFC. he hasn't lost since 2013, and that was in some Australian league. And then Brian Ortega, his only loss was doctor stoppage in round 4 of the championship fight when Max Holloway held the belt. So they're both really good. Ortega's got a deadly nasty game on the ground. But I don't know, a lot of people don't know this. Volkanovski used to be a rugby player in Australia. And he used to walk around. I think I saw it on the Joe Rogan podcast. It was like 220 pounds. And it's a crazy matchup. But I like Volkanovski, but I also like Ortega. And because I like them both so much, I'm going to have to go with the guy from America instead of the Australian. So I hope Ortega wins. What?
I don't blame you. I respect the choice.
I always go with my countrymen. When I can't make that, going.
So I think in this one, I'm an Ortega fan first and foremost. I do respect both fighters, but I'm going for the underdog in this fight. A lot of people don't think Ortega has what it takes to win, even though he's an explosive fighter and the dude's a beast on the ground, like you said. Everybody thinks that the undisputed featherweight champs is going to keep running the division. So I think his time's up, and I'm excited to see the end of this show and see Ortega hold that belt right at the end.
Yeah.
But all right, man. Let's move on. I'm going to jump right in. NFL mandatory mini camps, man. We had some people not show up. Some notable mentions. We have Jordan Hicks, Chandler Jones, Stephon Gilmore, Aaron Rodgers. So let me get your thoughts on what's happening right now.
I have no ill feelings towards this. And I'm going to read a quote. I think it was Devontae Adams. When he was asked if he would be at minicamp, he said, "Yeah, I'll be here. I'm from East Palo Alto, California. I grew up with $0. I'm not forfeiting any money that I earned." So, I mean, it's all on these dudes.
100%.
You want to waste money that you've earned and that you deserve and you've worked your whole life for. That's on you. I'm not going to hold it against you. It's your choice. It only hurts you, hurts the team. So yeah.
So let me ask something real quick before we keep talking about this. So we talked a lot about Aaron Rodgers, his teammates having his back and respecting his decision. I get that. But it comes to a point where, I understand the player needs to do what's best for them at the end of the day. But we've talked about it a few times before in past episodes. It comes down to, you sign a contract, you commit to something, you become a man of your word. It's one thing to shake on something. It's another to sign a contract. You know what I'm saying? I'm the type of dude, like if I shake your hand saying something, that's it. We don't need a contract. That's my word is my bond. So for somebody to sign something and shake hands and then to come out and say, "Hey, well, I'm upset. I'm not happy." I don't give a fuck what's going on personally. If you're there to do a job, you don't have to talk to people. You could still show up and ignore the media, ignore the coaching staff. The fact that you're there is all that matters. So, it really upsets me because not only are you a leader of the team, you're a captain, you're supposed to show and tell. So if you're not able to show and tell and be the example, I think you should kick rocks. And I understand the team doesn't want to let him go. And I'm only talking about Aaron Rodgers in this situation. If the team doesn't want to let him go, cool, retire. Stop wasting people's time, man. Let Jordan Love get his shine. Let the dude do what he needs to do. You have too many people. It's also a disservice to the fans. Now, I'm not a Packers fan because I don't give a fuck. But I feel so bad for this Jordan Love kid. And I just think the team, everybody needs closure. The fact that he's not saying anything or not speaking to anybody, it's some little kid middle school shit. It's like when you tell a girl you have a crush on her, or like you tell your friend and whatever, people passing notes, all this bullshit, but you can't tell her yourself. Like go up to her and tell her yourself, dude. I want to fuck, or can I hold your hand? Something stupid. I don't know. Just fucking say something, dude. It's
a little over the top going from note stuff. Fuck, but so my biggest thing, my takeaway from this, one of the players you mentioned was Stephon Gilmore, right? He's in the final year of his 5-year contract. That it was 5 years, $65 million. So as we've seen, Jalen Ramsey, one of the dudes that's gotten a fucking huge contract now. Back in 2017, when Stephon Gilmore signed that contract, that was a good contract.
It was a great deal.
Great contract. It was a strong contract for a cornerback at that time. So I know what I just said. Like, I don't care. You're only hurting yourself. But for someone like Stephon Gilmore, like I know he's been a top defensive player since he's since he signed that contract, he's performed. He's won a Super Bowl. He was Defensive Player of the Year in 2019. All these great accolades and stuff. But buddy, like, just show up for this year. You have all the shit behind you. You're only 31. Come play out and then fucking go for the money. There's no reason for you to start holding out this year after the last 4 years. It's just, I don't get it. I get maybe you're trying to get a new contract, big extension. Wait until after the season.
So I think it's multiple things with Stephon Gilmore, and I agree with you. The dude needs to show up, play football. A lot of people don't know. The Patriots gave him an advance last year because he asked for it. So they gave him an advance of $4.5 million. So because of that, he was supposed to make over $11 million, but now he's only going to make $7 million this season. Mm-hmm. And apparently he's upset because you got somebody else like Jalen Ramsey who's going to be making over $20 million this season. But once again, when Gilmore signed his contract, it's a completely different time to Jalen Ramsey, who just signed his contract 2 seasons ago. Completely different market, completely different times. The NFL just signed huge contracts, so all the teams have more money to spend. Stephon Gilmore, the Patriots have the cap space. I understand what he's doing. He knows that he can play with this money. I think he's a little upset that, he's been involved in trade rumors for the last year or so. Ever since Brady said he wanted out. Everybody knew Stephon Gilmore was going to have this contract situation. Play your year. If you can renegotiate. If you can't, kick rocks. See you later. No disrespect to Stephon Gilmore. I know he won the Defensive Player of the Year award back in 2019. Last year, he was nowhere close to a Jalen Ramsey player.
No.
They not even statistically close. To me, you say top defender since he signed the contract. Last year, he wasn't a top defender. He was a top defender on a non-existent Patriots team. Cool. But if you're not the number one player on the number one defense, I don't care, bro. Back the fuck up. Like, if you're not the number one defender on a AFC championship team, I don't care, bro. At least win the division. Do something. He didn't even do that. So for him to, start crying about his $7 million, why'd you take that advance last year? The Patriots gave that to you. What's the problem?
Yeah.
Now, somebody like Chandler Jones, I understand his frustration. I think Chandler Jones should get paid. I think he's earned it. He's been one of the best players at his position for consecutive years, and he's helped the Arizona Cardinals become a contender. So once again, I think you have to show and tell. If you're able to show up, do your job, and be an example, by all means. But Stephon Gilmore, with those numbers last year, you don't deserve any more money right now, bro. Finish your contract. So let me ask you this. Do you believe Gilmore should get more money this season, or do you think he should just play at what he has?
I mean, if the Patriots didn't give him that advance last year, maybe. But, like, come on, dude. Like, yeah, like you said, you asked for the advance last year. They gave it to you. Now this is why you're getting $7 million this year. Just come out, play out, renegotiate at the end of the year, or go sign with a different team and get that money.
I personally think he's done. I mean, I'm still happy to have him in the backfield. Once again, he's one of the tallest and best defenders in the league. I'm not discrediting him by saying he's not. Yeah, he didn't have a good season last year, but he was also fighting an injury. So I'm sure he's going to be healthy and ready to go this year. We'll see. Only time will tell. But once again, finish your contract. Renegotiate if you can. If you can't, see you later, man. Enjoy free agency. That's it. Or we could trade him right now, man. Give him up. I don't need Stephon Gilmore.
Speaking on another defensive back in the league, Xavier Howard hasn't showed up either for the Dolphins.
Yeah, it's the Dolphins.
I don't know if you saw about Tua. So Tua had a rough first day. He threw 5 picks. And
I mean, I know why he did it, though.
He was trying to get more aggressive in his throwing because it's just practice or whatever.
Not only that, yeah, it's practice, and you have to practice if you want to be able to make those throws. You have to practice. Just like Steph Curry makes all the craziest shots in the world, the dude practices. It doesn't matter what sport, as long as you put in the work, it will happen. But this is coming right after Dan Marino made a comment saying that Tua has what it takes to win the Dolphins the Super Bowl. So when you have one of the best quarterbacks of all time and pretty much still the face of the Miami Dolphins.
Fuck Dan Marino.
I agree with you. When you have somebody that's held in that high regard in the franchise saying that's a lot of pressure, man.
I hope Bill Belichick doesn't pass Don Shula. Go fuck yourself. See you later.
Dan Marino's only highlight was being an Ace Ventura Pet Detective.
Yeah, he
Just
hasn't
saying.
been he hasn't been relevant for years. So fucking see you later.
All right, man. That's enough of the NFL. We're gonna move on. Let's go on to the NBA. This is gonna be a long topic, and I'm excited about. We're gonna start off with the NBA awards. And first things first, I'm gonna start off with naming just the starting five. I'm not gonna talk about the second team or the third team, only the first team. I don't want to spend too much time on this because we have a lot to go over. But the NBA first team was announced. We have Giannis, Steph Curry, Luka, Jokic, and Kawhi Leonard. Do you believe those are the top five best players in the league? Did the NBA get that right?
I mean, after Steph watching Giannis get fucking crossed up and how he's played and shit, definitely don't want to see him on the first game.
I agree with you. But one of the reasons why I agree with Giannis being there, not only was he top in MVP votes, he was top in Defensive Player of the Year votes, and he held it down for his team. So I do believe he deserved to be here. I'm actually going to take one name off and put another name on here. So I'm going to keep everybody on the first team besides Luka. I don't think Luka deserves to be on the first team. To me, and this is why, I believe Joel Embiid should be on the first team. Joel Embiid was second in MVP votes. He held it down all year. The guy was an animal. He won the number one team in the East with the Philadelphia 76ers. And, we talked about the superstar Brooklyn Nets. Joel Embiid is doing his thing. I don't know if you agree with that. Do you want to dispute that? Do you believe Joel Embiid should stay there, or should he not be there?
Even after seeing Luka, how he played against the Clippers in that round, you still don't that was unheard of. That was wild.
Luka didn't win.
I get that, but how he can't do it all by himself. But the man was putting up crazy stats, crazy numbers. Like, he's the reason that team is why they were where they were at. You don't think he deserves to be first?
No, second team, 100%. First team, no. I'm not putting him over Joel Embiid. I mean, if you want to say Luka as a second guard, I mean, I don't think he should be there over Bradley Beal. To me, Bradley Beal, once again, he only lost out on the scoring title to Steph Curry by not even a full point. Like, the dude held it down and did his shit all season. So, I mean, I'm upset with who gets to make these votes, and we'll talk about that soon. But yeah, once again, my only decision would be to take out Luka and put on Joel. I would only move Luka down to the second team. That's it. I would just make that flip flop. I think Steph Curry is the only guard that should be in the first team. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
All right, so all defensive team. We have Giannis, Rudy Gobert, Draymond Green, Drew Holiday, and Ben Simmons. I think the NBA got all this right. Let's go on to the actual awards. MVP, Jokic. Before I start talking about what happened, do you think Jokic deserved the MVP?
Absolutely. And we've debated about this because, you've been high on Joel Embiid, but he played the third most minutes this year in the NBA. He led his team in rebounds, points, assists. He's the first Senator to win the MVP since Shaq. But he played great this year. He played every game. Unlike Joel Embiid, who I think what would Joel Embiid miss, like 15, 20 games this season?
Yeah.
So if Joel Embiid stayed healthy and played this year, it might have been a different story, might have been a different conversation. But I feel like Jokic definitely deserves to win that MVP.
So let me just stop you right there. And we're going to talk about this soon, but I just want to bring this up. LaMelo Ball won Rookie of the Year. He missed 21 games. He was not the best Rookie of the Year. So now let's go back. Once again, we'll talk about that soon.
Okay.
The reason why you just said Jokic deserved it is because Joel Embiid missed time. Not only did Joel Embiid miss time, he missed less games than LaMelo Ball. To me, yeah, Joel Embiid was the better player throughout the whole year. Once again, his team was number one in the conference, playing against some of the best competition. He's one of the best players in the league. I understand that Jokic led his team in points, rebound, assists. I get that, but we're talking about the Denver Nuggets. They don't have people on their
four straight
team.
Seasons.
Once again, he's doing that on a team that has nobody. Remember earlier how I was talking about Stephon Gilmore? Like, okay, cool. You're the best player on this team, but are you the best player who won
I see what you're saying.
Like that's all I'm saying. The way different leagues do stuff, it's funny to me. I personally don't think Jokic was the MVP. My personal MVP pick, my my personal opinion should have been Steph Curry. To me, he was the epitome of MVP. But if I was going to vote for anybody, it would be Joel Embiid. And I know I just contradicted myself, but I do think Joel Embiid, to the MVP standards, by the league standards, should have been the MVP, 100%. Now, to speak about what Jokic did, he's the first ever Denver Nuggets player to win the MVP, and he's also the lowest drafted player to be an MVP, being drafted in the second round, 41st overall. So that was very fucking impressive. You know, the guy averaged 26 points, 10.9 rebounds, and 8.4 assists, all career highs. The only other person who won an MVP that was drafted lower was Moses Malone, who wasn't even drafted. So, you know, kudos to him. But this is where shit goes south. Jokic is the 5th MVP in NBA history to be swept in an NBA playoff series, joining Magic Johnson, Moses Malone, Kareem, and Wes Unseld. In the 10 playoff games he played, he averaged 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists on 51, 38, 84 shooting. So he actually played better in the playoffs than he did in the regular season, in my personal opinion. But once again, the Denver Nuggets don't have a team. So what are your thoughts on that, man?
They also lost their second player, Murray, who tore his ACL.
And Murray was lost in the regular season, so I don't want to.
I know, but they were looking like a real contender until Murray got hurt and tore his
ACL. Even with Murray, man, I don't think they had it. They just don't have enough pieces on the team. They don't have a bench. And no disrespect, because I believe what they did was incredible. But yeah, no, I'm sorry. Jokic isn't. He does everything right and he does everything well. But to me, an MVP is somebody who makes everybody around him better while also being the best. And Jokic doesn't do that to me.
But he's the difference between him and a guy like Joel Embiid. And we talked about this a few podcasts ago. Was Jokic didn't even want the MVP. Joel Embiid was the guy that was like, I deserve that MVP, this, that. And Jokic was like, I don't want MVP. I want a ring.
Yeah.
So that's what an MVP is to me. Someone that's selfish.
But hold on, don't take that out of context, because that was when everybody told Joel Embiid he wasn't going to win the MVP. Joel Embiid has been all about the process since day one. He's been promising the city of Philadelphia a championship since he got there. So I don't want to hear you say that and, you know, put out the wrong idea in people's heads. You know, it's easy to take, you know, one topic and take it out of context for the guy's whole, you know, being of a player. Joel Embiid wants a championship. Is he upset he lost the MVP? Of course, because he deserved it. I don't blame him. Even Curry made comments saying he believes he was the MVP. So, like, I don't want to say that. And we all know Curry is a team player and makes everybody around him better. That's why I think Curry was an MVP. And if you weren't going to give it to either of those guys, fucking Chris Paul, the fact that he wasn't even in the top of the voting was so disrespectful. This guy went to a team that he never played with before, made him the number one team in the Western Conference, and they're now going to the Western Conference final. That's fucking amazing. And the fact that he wasn't even in the conversation is just so disrespectful, man. And that's another reason why I believe they should change the voting. But before we talk about that, we're going to keep going. Rudy Gobert won his 4th Defensive Player of the Year. I'm sorry, no, he's the 4th player to win 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards. The other players being Mutombo, Ben Wallace, and Dwight Howard. Rookie of the Year, LaMelo Ball, man. They announced it today, actually.
Yeah.
He averaged 15 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists to win the award. He missed 21 games throughout the season. Anthony Edwards, not only was he one of my top players in fantasy basketball, the guy was just a fucking entertainer. The guy is a true showman, and he's one of the best players in the league. I don't know how this man lost the award. What are your thoughts on this, man? Why do you think LaMelo won?
I don't know. Triple B's, signed with Puma. And he was electric on court. He was big every time he played. I don't know. I like LaMelo. I hated him when he played overseas, but I felt like he was quiet. You know, he kind of separated himself from the whole Triple B's bullshit when he signed with Puma.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I remember there was a big blowback from his pops. His pops was upset. I thought that was hilarious, but I respect him for doing it.
But no, the jump he's made from high school to playing overseas, from playing in Lithuania, and then playing in the team, I think it was Australia or New Zealand, to being the 3rd pick overall, the playing in Charlotte, it was great. But I don't know. Like you were saying, that other kid got snubbed.
So 100%. And that's another reason why I have a beef with the voting. I really think it comes down to a popularity contest because once again, Anthony Edwards had better shooting and everything. The guy was a beast. Once again, what I said, he averaged 15 points. Anthony Edwards averaged over 19 points, almost 20 points a game as a rookie. That's fucking incredible. And
Yeah.
mind you, LaMelo started off as a starter. Well, he didn't start off as a starter. He became a starter a lot sooner. He became a starter about a month into the season, to where Anthony Edwards, he didn't become a starter till almost halfway through the season. So the fact that this dude was able to take off and play the way he played, like that kid has such a bright future. And I will say the whole league has a bright future right now with LaMelo and Anthony Edwards going into that conversation. Last episode we talked about best players under 25. Things are so good right now for the league, and I'm excited. Next award, one of my favorite ones, most improved. Julius Randle. He became the sixth player in NBA history to average at least 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists in a season, joining Larry Bird, Will Chamberlain, Jokic, who did it this season, and Oscar Robertson, along with Russell Westbrook. So all legendary names right there. Once again, he had a upsetting postseason. He didn't play like he did in the regular season. They ended up losing, but kudos to him, man. Great job. Sixth man of the year, Jordan Clarkson. This dude averaged career highs across the board, and 18 points a game, 4 rebounds, 2.5 assists. He only had 1 start throughout the season, but he played incredibly, and he helped the Jazz, be as good as they were. Coach of the year is who I want to be the Boston Celtics coach, Tom Thibodeau. With Tibbs, they finished with the 4th best record in the East at 41-31, and they made the playoffs for the first time in 8 years.
Yeah.
The Knicks won 16 of their final 20 games to complete a turnaround from last season's overall record of 21-45. So huge turnaround, complete 180. And shout out to Tibbs. I really hope he can become Boston's next head coach. I don't know what will happen, but that would be my pick. After hearing all that, man, the NBA first team, the defensive first team, the MVP, the rookie of the year, defensive player of the year, sixth man of the year, most improved player of the year. Do you think the NBA got these picks right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything I didn't like. Besides, I mean, you could debate the whole LaMelo Ball thing with, Edwards and stuff because averaged more points. LaMelo Ball was out. But, I mean, I liked it. There was also Sportsmanship Award was Jrue Holiday, Teammate of the Year, Damian Lillard. I didn't see anything too crazy. When it comes to how they vote, it's a panel of 100 sports writers. So, like, the NFL – they vote through a panel of 50 sports writers. MLB pretty much does the same thing. The next big topic we have, is there anything you would like to see the NBA do differently? Would you like to see them, shorten the sports writers, have previous players maybe vote on MVP, coaches, owners? How do you want to see it go moving forward?
So I do believe there should be a committee of players. So I don't know if you saw this when you did your research on the topic, but it never used to be the writers or journalists who voted. They actually made that change in the 1980-81 season.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, it was awards voted on by the players. And if you remember a couple of years ago, the NBA actually came out with the player awards. Yeah. And they had different picks for almost everything versus what the journalists voted. And to me, the NBA got it right. So it doesn't have to be current players. I believe there should be votes in spectrums. I believe there should be a Hall of Fame vote. You have a collection of however many Hall of Famers that you want. I don't care. 10 Hall of Famers, 25, 50. You can do 50 for all I care. Do 50 Hall of Famers. Have current NBA players come out and make their votes. And then have NBA coaches make their votes. Tally up all those, and whoever wins, wins. Because to me, not the journalists, if you want to still give the journalists a vote, give the journalists a vote. But I believe it should be a small committee, at least one for every team. 30. That's all you need. You need one from every team. Whoever is the main sports writer for that team, they go out and get a vote. That way, it's not biased in any means.
Yeah.
Or they can pick people from the Writers Hall of Fame. I don't care. They just need to change it because the way it's voting on right now, it's very, like I said, it comes off like a popularity contest, and it's very biased. Upsetting. I mean, do you believe if the players had a vote, things would change completely?
I mean, I don't think they'd change completely, but you'd see some different picks,
I mean, based off what I've seen, if the players had a vote, Steph Curry would have won MVP this year.
Yeah, I mean, he had 32, 5-5.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
If players had a vote, I believe Anthony Edwards wins that Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
You know, if players had a vote, I believe Ben Simmons beats Rudy Gobert for Defensive Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
It all comes down to what we see and what they see. And once again, with the media, I do believe they get caught up in the hype, and it all comes down to popularity. And it's unfortunate. I can't get upset because they voted Steph Curry the first ever unanimous MVP.
Yeah.
When you have players like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, those guys all won MVPs. They were never unanimous. So for Steph Curry to be one of my favorite players and get that first nod, I think that's incredible. Do I think Steph Curry should be the first ever unanimous MVP? No, it should have been Michael Jordan. We all know that. It should have been Bill Russell. It should have been these guys like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, these guys from the past. So I don't know. Things are fucked up, and I just think a change needs to happen. So what would you like to see?
I mean, I like the idea that you put out there, having Hall of Fame, having players, a sports writer from each team,
Yeah.
only 30 and stuff. I like that. I mean, I could get with that. But yeah, the same thing. Player vote, Hall of Fame vote, coaches vote, owner vote, sports writer vote, put them all together, see what comes out. That'd be good. Feel like it'd be a little bit more fair.
Cool. On that note, man, let's go off into the playoff picture. Like you said earlier, the 76ers lost to the Atlanta Hawks. I can't believe they lost that game, man. The 76ers were destroying them in the first half. And last I saw, they were up by 25. So that is fucking incredible. Shout out to Trae Young, John Collins, and Clint Capella. Those boys put in fucking work. So now Atlanta leads that series 3-2. Right now, the Clippers and the Jazz are playing in Game 5. Kawhi Leonard is sitting out. The Jazz are currently up by 3 at the end of the first. We all saw KD drop 49 points. James Harden got back on the court. I was shocked to see that. No Kyrie. Don't know what's going on with him. But the Milwaukee Bucks, man, ended up losing that game, bro. Losing Game 5. Middleton had a chance to go up. He ended up passing it to Giannis, and Giannis dropped the ball. And that was when things just went south. Mind you, the Bucks had about a 17-point lead in the first half, and KD and them couldn't hit shit. But Jeff Green, proven to be one of the best players of the night, hitting 7 for 8 from 3, getting a career high in the playoffs. It was a beautiful thing to watch. What are your thoughts on what you've seen so far?
I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I definitely think the Nets will make it through. So Kyrie's supposed to sit Game 6. And I don't know if Harden's going to sit Game 6 either, but I think they'll be able to pull it off. I definitely think they're still going to make it through. They're going to be the Eastern Conference champions. They'll play whoever it is next, whether the Hawks win or the 76ers. I think they'll make it all the way. They pretty much just got to get Kyrie healthy. It's kind of karma that, that's the same foot he scuffed Lucky's face with. So I'm kind of glad to see it,
You saw Big Baby's comments?
Yes. Same foot. So it's kind of karma and everything. But this is going to kind of go into something else that I have, kind of spiderwebbing real quick. A big thing that came out is a lot of people are getting hurt. Injuries have been a big factor during the playoffs. It's been the shortest offseason in NBA history ever. They only had 72 days between Game 6 of the NBA Finals last year in the bubble to the start of the season. Lakers were never healthy. Nuggets looked like a real contender before they lost Murray to a torn ACL. Nets have barely played at full strength all year. Irving and Harden have both missed extended periods of the playoffs. Suns have made it to the conference finals, but are now in jeopardy with Chris Paul being out to health and safety protocols, which either came out, I think it was today or yesterday. And then the Clippers tied the series only to lose Kawhi to a knee injury, and now he's in doubt for the rest of the playoffs. So my question here is, do you think the NBA fucked up? Do you think they should have stretched it out a little bit more? Do you think it was fair to the players?
I don't think they fucked up. They knew what they were doing, and everybody agreed to it. So, that's what those conversations are for. And, they signed those contracts. So the only thing I was upset with the NBA this year is they said there wasn't going to be an all-star game or an all-star week.
Yeah.
And they changed up the format, but they still ended up doing it. And I know players were pissed off about that. It's kind of funny to think about one of the reasons why they couldn't spread out the playoffs, because usually the playoffs are more spread out, not like it is right now. But one of the main reasons why they're doing it so tight tight close is we have the Olympics coming up, and that's going to be something we're going to talk about later. And the way it's going, the Olympics are going to start the day after a possible Game 7 for the NBA Finals. The NBA is trying to do everything right while capitalizing on making that money. So I can't hate it. I respect it. At the end of the day, it's a business. I wasn't a fan of, the shortened season and, the way everything was going on right now. When they started it, when the draft was, I hope things go back to normalcy in the next year or so. Hopefully, with the Olympics, I don't know what's going to happen. There's so much going on because of COVID that things just fucked everything up. So do you see us going back to a normal schedule? Like, preseason starting in September, having a summer league. I mean, summer league's supposed to be starting in July. August.
Hopefully.
We're not going to get that with the Olympics and everything.
There's a lot of outcry and outpour. Of course, LeBron James said a bunch of shit about everything I just commented on, but we'll see. I'm sure eventually it'll get back to normal.
Well, when I say normalcy, I mean like back to regular schedule, like season starting at the end of October, like Halloween.
Yeah, you just probably have to shorten the preseason and fucking that's about it.
Yeah. All right, man. You touched on something that I want to talk about, though. We're talking about key players missing the Western Conference Finals or the Eastern Conference Finals. Like things are all fucked up right now. And the crazy part is, with no Steph Curry or LeBron James, right now NBA viewership is up higher than it's ever been. Everything is skying through the roof. All eyes are on the NBA right now, and people are enjoying the playoffs. But now, when Chris Paul is playing his heart and soul, man, he finally gets to the Western Conference Finals. We find out he goes into health and safety protocols and now could potentially miss all of the Western Conference Finals. What are your thoughts on this, man? Like, I'm pretty pissed off, and I'm not even a Suns fan. Why? What's happening?
So I'll say this. They better hope the Clippers win, and they better hope the Clippers win without Kawhi, and Kawhi has to sit out for the rest of the playoffs. If Chris Paul is out, that's the only way they get in the throw. You don't want to wish bad juju on anybody, but that's the only way. If Chris Paul doesn't come back,
I think that's very disrespectful. I think you're discrediting a lot of what Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton do. Because once again,
I get that.
The Clippers don't have a big man that can cover DeAndre Ayton, and if Kawhi Leonard's not there, who the hell is going to stop Devin Booker?
But we're talking about the point guard. I mean, not point guard right now. He's an absolute beast. He's a guy that came over and brought a team, like you said earlier, quoting you, brought a brand new team that he was with to a number 1 seed in the Western Conference.
Yeah, now all the way to the Western Conference Finals, the furthest he's ever been in his career. And now he can't even play.
Yeah.
So do you know why he was put in health and safety protocols?
I didn't even see anything. I don't know if it has to fucking COVID related or some other bullshit.
I'm pulling it up right now just because I didn't read into this and I just want to see because I didn't see anything besides that he had to go into it. I don't know why he has to do it.
I think it came out today, like a few hours ago. So it's fairly new for anybody that's listening.
So all they said is if he is already vaccinated, so nobody even knows if he's vaccinated. All they're saying, if he is vaccinated, he would face a shorter suspension. So that's just wild to think about. What do you think? Well, you think he went to an event?
There was something with LeBron James. I think it was at the end of the regular season where he went to an event with a few celebrities and stuff like that. But it's LeBron James, so nothing happened.
So you're talking about the same event where LeBron was there for like 10 minutes and people made a big deal about it. Everybody was vaccinated at that event. That's why it went away.
The health and safety protocols, I think they were like the NBA players are exempt from that. They still have to abide by certain things, even if people are vaccinated. So he broke the rules.
So from what we see, Matt Barnes announced on his podcast that Chris Paul did get vaccinated. So he is vaccinated. So from the world we live in, not to get off topic, I don't want to talk politics or none of that shit. The world we live in, as long as you're vaccinated, you can do whatever you want. So I don't understand why he would be forced to miss. If he is forced to miss, I think the NBA is going to blow up. I think people are going to freak the fuck out.
Yeah, trying to snub this guy from getting some hardware.
Yo, right? Fucking poor Chris Paul, man. I've been shitting on this dude for years.
Yeah.
And I like, you quoted me saying it, man. He just needs some hardware. He has a chance to get it this year, and they're just like, nope.
Yep.
Sorry. Even though you're vaccinated, it does not matter.
Yeah. So real quick, I just want to talk about the Hawks 76ers game that just happened.
Go ahead.
So like you said, they were getting destroyed in the first half. In the fourth quarter, they outscored the 76ers 40-19,
That's amazing.
which is fucking crazy. They
Now,
won by
mind you,
3
we're
points.
talking about two of the best defenders in the league too on the 76ers with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. So that's incredible. Fucking do you have the box score on you? What did Trae Young drop? Let me hear it.
Trae Young dropped 39 points. So this is where it gets interesting. Gallinari had 16. Williams had 15. Collins had 19. On the 76ers side, Tobias Harris only had 4 points. Ben Simmons only had 8 points. But Seth Curry had 36 points. Joel Embiid had 37 points.
Yeah, man, it's sad. You need more people to step up. Seth Curry, I'm happy to hear he dropped 36, man. But that's
and he
not
had
enough.
7 rebounds.
Seth Curry's a baller, man. He's a baller. It's funny.
But
Steph, his brother Steph came out and said he believes that the 76ers will win the championship and Seth Curry will win the finals MVP. So,
crazy
that's
about
hilarious.
this game. Trae Young made 17 out of 19 free throws. So they must have been fucking hacking at this dude.
Nah, and that there's a lot of people, and we'll talk about this on another episode, but there's a lot of people looking at making some rule changes with the shots. And I know Trae Young is under the microscope because he gets a lot of fouls called for bullshit. And he is very entertaining to watch, but at the same time, when you watch him play, it's like watching James Harden. All these dudes ever do is go to the free throw line. And it's for the biggest, most dumbest bullshit call ever. So, I do think the refs need to fix what's going on. Hopefully, after the season, they get their shit together. But I do see Trae Young's numbers dropping next season because of that. Because once again, a huge part of his game comes from the free throw line. No disrespect, though. But a lot of people stay away from Trae Young or stay off of him because of that. They know he's going to get those calls.
One last thing about this game, and I commented on this the last podcast. One of the biggest issues the 76ers have had is their free throws. They hit 60% of their free throws this game. And in past games, they've only hit 60% of their free throws.
Also, they don't have a bench that can give you points.
Absolutely. I'm just saying, they need to start hitting their bunnies. It's fucking 60%. Terrible.
Yeah, you're playing against one of the top shooting teams in the league against a team that can't really shoot that well. So as long as the Hawks hit their shots, they have nothing to worry about. But I do think Philly's going to come back in that series. So we'll see what happens. But all right, that's enough of the playoff picture. I want to talk about Team USA. Team USA will conduct a mini camp as early as July 1st. So not even 2 weeks away. We're right there. It will be held in Las Vegas. The NBA Finals begin on July 8th with a possible Game 7 going on July 22nd. The Team USA coaching staff has dropped a 57-man roster for the final 12-man team. That selection period will begin at the end of the month. What 12 people do you think will make the cut? And before I actually get your picks, I'm just going to read off all these names, and I'm going to go by positions. So at center, we have Jared Allen, DeAndre Jordan, Mitchell Robinson, Christian Wood, Bam Adebayo, Andre Drummond, Montrezl Harrell, Dwight Howard, Brooke Lopez, Kevin Love, Javon McGee, Mason Plumlee, Miles Turner. I'm not going to lie, I'm very upset with that list. Don't think a lot of those names should even be there, but I understand why they are. For the selected guards, we have Eric Gordon, Drew Holiday, Zach LaVine, Fred VanVleet, John Wall, Trae Young, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Malcolm Brogdon, Mike Conley, Steph Curry, DeMar DeRozan, Joe Harris, Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Oladipo, Chris Paul, Lowry, Kemba Walker, Russell Westbrook, and Derek White. And for the forwards, Jeremiah Grant, Blake Griffin, Julius Randle, Duncan Robinson, Zion Williamson, LaMarcus Aldridge, Harrison Barnes, Jaylen Brown, Jimmy Butler, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Paul George, Draymond Green, Tobias Harris, Gordon Hayward, Brandon Ingram, LeBron James, Kyle Kuzma, Kawhi Leonard, Chris Middleton, and last but not least, Jason Tatum. So in hearing all those names, man, they definitely handpick a lot of people, but it's pretty easy to say who will make the cut and who won't make the final cut. Even if all these guys said they wanted to play, you can only have 12 people. So in knowing that, man, I asked you to create your own list. I have my own list. What 12 players do you have picked out for your Team USA? Let me hear it.
So mine's real quick. People are still in the playoffs. Dudes have been injured.
100%.
So this is a list. This isn't my best 12. This is the 12 that are available, minus dudes that are hurt and minus teams that are still playing in the playoffs. So I have Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler, Julius Randle, Bam, Draymond Green, Zion Williamson, Mitchell Robinson, and you could either do Mitchell Robinson or Jared Allen.
That's not a bad 12.
Yeah.
Or 13. I know you had throw out an extra name.
Well, you could that's what I'm saying. Either one, Mitchell Robinson or Jared Allen.
So I know before you named your list, you made a comment, and that's one of the reasons why my team is the way it is. And I'll say my team in a little bit due to playoffs and the Olympics starting right after. So with people in the playoffs right now, with mini camp starting, those people that are still in the playoffs, they're not going to be able to play. So when you say somebody like Devin Booker is not on my list because once again, I do believe he's going to be busy with the playoffs. So, but I do believe once again, if he wasn't in this position or if the Olympics were later on, I do believe he would be a part of that team. So woulda, coulda, shoulda, but with things going on, I don't think people are able to play. So because I just mentioned Devin Booker will most likely not be able to play due to the playoffs, do you have anybody else you would take off and put on for him? Or do you want to leave your list how it is? That's your
I
final
mean,
12.
you could go John Wall, Fred VanVleet, one of those guys.
Okay. I'm honestly surprised to hear those names. I was even surprised to read them when I saw the list. 100%. Yeah. There's a lot of guys on this list that shouldn't be there. Jared Allen, no disrespect to him. I don't think he deserves to be there. DeAndre Jordan, he was on the last Team USA to help us win gold, so I respect it. But he doesn't even play on the team he is now, and they need a big man. So no disrespect to DeAndre Jordan. He shouldn't be there. Mitchell Robinson, he's still young, man. I would love to see him there in the future, but I don't think he's done enough to deserve a spot. No disrespect to him. Christian Wood, dude's a beast. Still don't think he makes that final cut. Bam Adebayo, 100%. He's on my list. Andre Drummond, no. Montrezl Harrell, no. Dwight Howard, shut the fuck up. What? Why is he even there? Brooke Lopez, no. Kevin Love, no. JaVale McGee, no. Mason Plumlee, no. Miles Turner, no. Once again, out of all those guys, I only named one person who I would take, and that was Bam Adebayo. So that's crazy to me. Out of all those centers, the 13 I listed, there's only one on my list. Now, when it comes to the selected guards, Eric Gordon, he's too old. He needs to worry about next season and if he can continue to play in the league at a high level. I don't think he should play on Team USA. Drew Holiday, a defensive, candidate on the all defensive team. I respect it, but I wouldn't put him on Team USA. Zach LaVine, I love it. He's on my team, 100%. Fred VanVleet, no. Now, Fred VanVleet, the guy is becoming the new star of the Toronto Raptors. He's a undrafted player putting in work, and he's living the dream right now, and I respect him. He's one hell of a talented player, but I don't think he's Team USA material. I have 5 other guards on my team, and he's not one of them. Let's see. Let's keep going. John Wall, he needs to worry about staying healthy. He couldn't even finish the season. Trae Young, playoffs. Can't have Trae Young in there because he has playoffs. We just saw him. We just say drop 39 tonight. God damn. Keep doing your thing, man. Bradley Beal, 100%. Sign him up. Devin Booker, playoffs. Can't have him on there. Malcolm Brogdon, great player, but he plays on the Indiana Pacers. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to see Malcolm Brogdon.
Fuck them Pacers.
Michael Conley, playoffs. Can't talk about him. Stephen Curry, definitely want to see him play. He said he will make his decision at the end of the month. It's funny because right when he's going to make his decision is exactly when the mini camp's going to start. I do know in the past he said he does want to play, but this was before COVID. So I'm very curious to see if he does keep his word and plays for Team USA. But I don't think he didn't play in the last gold medal run. He played with the FIBA team, but he didn't play on the 2016 gold medal team. So I do want to see Curry play. I would love to get that jersey. DeMar DeRozan, no. Joe Harris, no. Kyrie Irving, injury, playoffs. He needs to worry about himself. So no. Damian Lillard, hell yeah. Want to see that. James Harden, no. Injury, playoffs. Donovan Mitchell, I know he was on your team. No, man, I'm sorry. Once again, I have 5 guards listed. If Steph Curry doesn't play, by all means, he should be there, but no. Victor Oladipo, another person who's injured, shouldn't be on the list. Chris Paul, playoffs. Kyle Lowry, too old. Kemba Walker, injury. Russell Westbrook, yes. Sign me up. I want to see that. Derek White, too young. In the future, yes, he's a great player. I don't want to see that. Now for the forwards, Jeremiah Grant, no. Blake Griffin, no. Julius Randle, yes. Duncan Robinson, no. Zion, yes. LA retired. He retired due to health reasons. The fact that he was even still on the list, like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on? Harrison Barnes, he was on the past USA team. I don't want to see him. Jaylen Brown, injury. He needs to worry about himself. Jimmy Butler, yes. Anthony Davis, yes. Kevin Durant, playoffs. Paul George, playoffs. Draymond Green, yes. Tobias Harris, playoffs. But also, no, I don't want to see him on Team USA. Gordon Hayward, he needs to worry about getting back healthy. He got injured at the end of the year. Brandon Ingram, would love to see him, but don't think he makes the cutoff. LeBron James already said he's worried about playing with Bugs Bunny against the Monstars. So don't think we'll see him. Fucking clown.
Jordan 2.0. See you later.
Kyle Kuzma, so disrespectful. He's on this list. I'm not even gonna get started on that. Kawhi Leonard, playoffs. Chris Middleton, playoffs. Jason Tatum, 100% should be there.
Centerpiece.
Yeah, 100%. So my 12-man team, right, after going through all those names and giving my reasons why they should be there or shouldn't be there, Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine. Once again, those are 5 guards that I just named. Then after that, we have Zion Williamson, Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo. That's all you need. To me, that's the best collection of guys that are going to give you the best result. Obviously, that team's going to go undefeated. Obviously, they're going to win his gold in Tokyo. It's no contest. I don't want to see, guys like Jared Allen, no disrespect, or like Eric Gordon and other guys go there and then we somehow lose the gold. The fuck, dude?
See, unfortunately, like we said with the playoffs, all the injuries, the shortened off season from last year to this year, we honestly don't know who's going to play, who's going to want to play, or what's going to happen. There's a couple names that are guarantees, like you said, but besides that, everything's
I know Damian Lillard, Draymond Green, and Jason Tatum all already came out and said that they want to play. But once again, they still have to make the final roster. I do think Draymond, Damian, and Jason Tatum will be on that final man roster regardless. Draymond Green, people could talk about his offense all they want. There's a reason why they're not in the playoffs. He couldn't hit a fucking layup, but whatever. Yep. He was on the all defensive first team. So I do see him going. I do see him contributing, obviously. And we're talking about playing against people in other countries. He's one of the best people to do it in America, kings of basketball. So playing against little Frenchmen or little Spanishmen, he's going to shit all over them.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. That's enough about Team USA. We already know they're going to win the gold, but we'll talk about the Olympics when the Olympics come around. And when they make the final roster, we'll have a topic on that. Final thoughts, man. How do you want to end the show? Let me hear it.
So I have 2 things. I'm going to say one thing real quick, and I'll say the other. With the NBA playoffs continuing, and soon it'll be over with, we'll probably talk more about baseball, especially our Red Sox, who are 4th in the AL right now.
Oh, 100%.
They've surprised a lot of people. Their bats are going good. They have a nice little core with Verdugo and a few other dudes. Right now, the biggest thing I want to talk about is Vince Wilfork's son is charged with stealing $300,000 of his dad's jewelry, including New England Patriots Super Bowl rings. Vince Wilfork thought he left them in like packaging or storage or wherever, but a lifelong Patriots fan saw the memorabilia up on a site and personally emailed Vince Wilfork. His son is 23 and is charged down in Galveston, Texas on Wednesday, but this just broke today.
So with that story, right, did Vince Wilfork press charges against his own son?
It doesn't say, but police also discovered that 8 other pieces of Wilfork's jewelry were sold in March of 2020 for $4,600.
So we're talking about something. It's been well over a year, and we're just now learning about this. Vince is just now learning about this. So Vince clearly doesn't pay attention to his trophy collection. But at the same time, when it's in the comfort of your own home, you think you could trust people. So it's kind of wild to think about, man, especially all those Tom Brady, Super Bowl commercials we see with him locking away his rings in a safe. You'd think Vince Wilfork, being a former teammate, would understand, the importance of a safe or, keeping your prized possessions locked up. But this is wild to think about, for your own son to go right under your nose and rob you blind and you have no idea. That's fucking crazy. And kudos to that fan that emailed him. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So Vince Wilfork is only 39 years old. His kid is 16 years younger than him. And
Yeah.
when I say kid, his son,
23 years old.
DeAndre Holmes hyphenated Wilfork, is 23, like you just said.
Now, we're talking about somebody who's won Super Bowls, played in the NFL for years. His son's only 23.
Yeah.
Will Fork has money. Why? What can you possibly do? You think Will Fork's kid? And I don't want to speak out of term because I don't know the guy personally. Like, what do you think was going through this kid's mind? Like, if he needed money, couldn't you just reach out to mom and dad? Like,
So,
what?
I mean, he must be close with them to be able to get fucking said items.
I mean, it's his kid.
Yeah. So, I mean, the only thing I could think of, and I'm just speculating here. I have no facts behind this.
It's drugs, bro. We all know it's drugs.
That's exactly what I was just gonna say. But I'm sure more will come out on the story, or it'll be hush hush. We'll see. This is pretty big, $300,000 worth of jewelry. That's fucking and 2 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, that's
including
insane.
Super Bowl rings. Yeah.
If it is drugs or if the guy was in trouble and he felt like he couldn't reach out to people to get help, I wish him nothing but the best, and I hope all is good and well. No disrespect. We're not talking shit. We're just speculating at this point because we have no idea what's going on. Angry fans, loves the players, loves the families of the players. We don't care what you guys do. We just enjoy the show.
Yeah.
But all right, man, on my final thought, we got some coaching vacancies opening up in the NBA. We currently have 6 destinations with head coach openings. I think this is the most I've seen in my lifetime at one point in time. So we have the Portland Trailblazers, the Washington Wizards, the Orlando Magic, Indiana Pacers, New Orleans Pelicans, and the Boston Celtics. Now, 3 of those teams, actually 4 of those teams, seem like very good coaching destinations. Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, New Orleans Pelicans. You have Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson. You have the Washington Wizards with Bradley Beal, Russell Westbrook, Portland Trailblazers with Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum. The Orlando Magic just made trades they're working on their future. The Indiana Pacers, they made trades. They got Sabonis down there, one of the best forwards in the league. Out of all these destinations, and I know you're a Celtics fan, so don't be biased on this. What do you think is the most promising destination for a head coach right now? If you had your pick and you had all 6 of these teams in front of you, what team are you picking?
I'm going to say the Celtics. Just
Really?
Because you have the young pieces, the young players. You have starring Kemba, the history of the Celtics, Brad Stevens, who's a favorite, now being in the front office, somebody you can work with. It's not Danny Ainge up there anymore. Not speaking bad about Danny, but it's just a whole different dynamic.
Yeah, they're kind of in a little mini rebuild right now.
Yeah. I mean, you got to pick your poison. I saw something that Jason Kidd's going to go to the Orlando Magic. I don't know how true it is, but I saw.
I mean, if he does, and that's where I was coming into with the coaching destination and not really the team. I mean, when you look at all those places, the most entertaining place looks like the Orlando Magic because once again, you're in fucking Orlando, Florida. So you have Disney right there as your sponsor for the team. You're going to have that good weather. And once again, they're in a rebuild. So like with you going down with, all new team, because they just traded away Aaron Gordon. They got all young guys, Cole Anthony, UNC Tar Heels all day, stand up. You got a promising young team. If Jason Kidd goes there, I can see them only getting better. They've been out of the playoffs for a few years now when not even a decade ago, they were in the finals. A lot's changed and a lot's happened. And if I was a young coach, I am a Celtics fan, but I would take the Orlando Magic's coaching vacancy 100%. And once again, just because of destination and because it's a complete rebuild with the players and the coaching, you can do it your way, however you want, and nobody can get in your way. So that's it. Right now with the Boston Celtics, I feel like there's more pressure because they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 out of the last 4 years. You have young up-and-coming superstars, and the head coach who was just coaching the team for the last 5 or 6 years is now the president of basketball operations. So I feel like you're going to have more pressure in Boston 100%. If you go out to Portland, Damian Lillard, he's 31 years old. He's only getting older. This guy wants a championship now or you need to get rid of him. So with potential trades, with him and that team, I wouldn't want to go anywhere near that. Washington Wizards, Russell Westbrook, crazy ass ego, Bradley Beal. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Washington's always talking about trading one of their best players. Before John Wall was traded, it was every season where those guys were talking about breaking him up and splitting him up and doing something. So I don't know, man. The only team here that I feel bad for is the Indiana Pacers, because they have a young core team, but it's Indiana, bro. Nobody wants to be in the Midwest. That's all it comes down to. But that's it, man. That's all I got. Once again, I would pick the Orlando Magic. It was a good show tonight, man.
Yeah, a lot of good topics. Yeah. Excited about baseball in the future. We'll talk about that later on. A few weeks.
100%, man. And speaking on baseball, I'm actually going to a Yankees Red Sox game on Friday the 25th with my buddy Kelvin. You're more than welcome to join us if you want. I'll speak to you more about that after the show.
Sure, there'll be some brawls.
Hey, I'm excited, man. On that note, peace.